Magnus Carlsen vs Alireza Firouzja, full game World Rapid 2021.
Alright, here we go. d4 from Magnus, knight f6 from Levon. Actually, kind of standard. We saw this when Anish Giri beat Magnus Carlsen in the other game from the best game series. Knight c3 and bishop b4, a Rogozin defense. Very popular for many years now at the top level of chess. So Magnus takes on d5, clarifying the situation in the center. Plays bishop to g5, pins the knight to the queen. One plays h6, targeting the bishop, and here white can either back up or take. Magnus decides to make this trade, and now play the move queen to a4 check. What this does is it attacks the bishop and the king. Black has to play knight c6, and that move kind of hinders black's queenside movement. Like, as long as white is now going to be able to develop quickly, this knight is going to have to move at some point. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of difficult to guard this, and this knight will become a target in the future when these pawns slowly make their way up the board. But for now, Magnus just plays e3, black castles, and bishop e2. It's better to put the bishop here than here, because here it guards the knight. And if black ever played bishop to g4, he would have been attacking the knight with two different pieces, so the bishop is on e2 now, rather than being on d3. You still obviously cannot take this, you're looking to castle. Levon plays bishop e6, short castle, a6. This move is intending this move and stopping the knight from coming to b5. So we get rook c1. Now, why does Magnus play rook fc1? Well, this kind of shows his class. Both of these moves are possible, rook a and rook f, but the point is that he understands that there's really no danger of the rook leaving the king. And so what he'll do is he will bring his queen back and then use the queen side to expand. And it's better for him to have two rooks rather than one. If this rook stayed on f1, then it wouldn't take part in the queenside advancement. So Magnus is showing his first kind of poke. I'm going to expand on the queenside. So knight e7. Obviously, black wants to restructure with c6 and bring this knight over here. Magnus plays the move a3. This is a very, I call them Magnesian wrinkles. Normally, white just goes knight a4 to try to go knight c5 and create play on that side of the board. Magnus plays a3. Now, here the theory move has always been g7, g5. So black basically says, all right, man, you put your rooks over there, so I'm going to start attacking your king and make you have to worry about this side of the board. Levon chooses not to do that in this game, opting for just putting a rook in the center, and the game goes on. Magnus plays b4. Why is he doing this? Well, you'll notice that Magnus traded off his dark squared bishop. Look at how many pawns are on the dark squares. I talk about this a lot in a lot of my videos. You need to replace the dark squared complex with pawns, right? If you've traded off your dark squared bishop, negating the power of the bishop on d6. Levon plays knight c8. That move potentially eyes this square, actually, because he wants to play knight here and knight to c4. And so now Magnus does go indeed for the move knight a4, focusing on the c5 square. Oh, sorry, I drew the wrong arrow there, focusing on the c5 square. So this is how good Magnus is. First wave, he's pressuring on the queen side. b6. Understandable move, covering the square. For a guy like Magnus, the move b6 does a few things. Yes, black gets control of this, but at what cost? Black has weakened the a6 pawn. It is no longer protected by a pawn. Black has also weakened the c6 square. Not a single piece in the black position now covers that square. All right, Magnus's work on the queen side is done. He doesn't continue to focus with moves like b5, knight back to b2. What is this? Magnus is routing toward the center. So step one has been to weaken the queen side, and now he transfers over. Levon says, all right, I'm down for that. I'm not gonna get this plan. All right, I'm gonna come here and fight for the e5 square. Knight d3, knight g6. Now Magnus says, well, now that I've gotten your knight away from that side of the board, whoever said I was done with the c5 square? a4. The knight defends the pawn on b4, and now this pawn can come forward. When the knight was here, it wasn't protecting this. That would have just been a free pawn. Yes, you can take on c7, because the bishop guards, but Magnus is doing this the right way. He's prodding for this move a5. So for example, had black played, in the game, black played a5 himself and stopped it. But if black plays, for example, bishop f5, Magnus goes a5, and nothing is good here for black. Like, it's still in the balance, but it's really difficult here for Levon to make a decision. Because if he takes, Magnus first of all can take with a rook and pressure both these pawns. He can also take with the pawn. This is a weakness. He's now got a second file, and that pawn is still in the line of sight of the bishop. If you just move this knight, this rook will forever be glued to defending that pawn. That rook is never going to get into the game. But if Levon pushes b5, he's completely given this square away. I'll just plant my knight there, and I'm going to continue to expand on that side of the board. So for that reason, Levon played a5 himself. Now Magnus plays b5. Locking out the queen side, the square has been grasped, and he will never let go of it. Now the next stage of the game begins. Rook e8, rook c3. He doubles the rooks on the c file, both guys in the game. Next piece comes. So how does Magnus begin to make progress here? He's looking around the board. He's going, which piece is the most integral to the black position? Which piece is my biggest adversary right now that I would like to trade? Knight d2. What on earth does that answer? That moves another piece away. Where's this knight even going? It can't even go anywhere. You're about to find out. Levon plays rook d7, potentially looking to double stack, double the rooks on this file. Also, it's just not easy for black to make a move here because he can't move a lot of pieces. You know, he could have played queen h4, but again, you're not going to mate Magnus. He'll just play g3. And yes, he's moving a pawn in front of his king, but look at, again, the dark squared complex of pawns. Like, this is nothing. This knight can't come forward. The queen can hang out here, but we'll kick the queen out. That's not scary, right? So rook d7 from Levon, and now g3. This move just blocks out the bishop temporarily. And now on knight f8, we see the whole point of the move knight d2.